And we have heard countless horror stories about loan modifications, so I headed to Washington, D.C. to find out why so many people are having trouble accessing a federal program that's supposed to help them.
Like many in Michigan, Marla Jansen and her husband Ron have fallen on hard times.
My husband is a construction guy, and his work slowed way down.
Marla went back to work full-time, and Ron picked up jobs when he could, but there still wasn't enough money to pay the mortgage.
So we started falling behind on our payments.
The Jansens love their neighborhood, and they want to stay in their Berkeley home. So Marla started calling her bank, hoping she could lower her monthly payment with something called a loan modification. Marla says she was told to send in pay stubs and other financial records.
So I did. I heard nothing.
Marla says they had to submit their paperwork 3 times because the bank couldn't find it. A process that experts say should take only 30 days went on nearly 16 months before the Jansens finally got their loan modification.
I felt very relieved that we were going to be okay.
That's until they got their bills in the mail. Marla says their monthly mortgage payment actually increased by hundreds of dollars. In August, they got 2 bills, one for about $1,700 and one for $1,900.
This system is a mess. It's an absolute mess, and that's a typical story.
Attorney Adam Taub represents the Jansens and about 24 clients who have had major problems trying to get loan modifications.
Almost half of my clients found out after the fact that their home had been sold at a sheriff's sale.
The problem Taub has found is that while one arm of the bank is supposed to be helping customers get a loan modification, another part of the bank is foreclosing on them, and the two sides are not talking to each other. But there's a government program that's supposed to prevent that from happening. It's called the Home Affordability Modification Program, or HAMP. So why weren't the Jansens and so many other families put into the federal program? And is it really working?
Officials from the Treasury Department originally said they hope to help 3 to 4 million homeowners avoid foreclosure by the year 2012. But the Special Inspector General here in Washington, D.C., who's the watchdog for that program, says that's not a realistic goal.
You don't have a recognition from Treasury that the program is not working.
Neil Barofsky is the Special Inspector General over TARP, the federal bank bailout program that includes HAMP. He monitors HAMP and says the program is not living up to its original promise.
Treasury keeps saying over and over again as the success of the program is that they've offered, or they have instituted, more than 1.3 or 1.4 million trial modifications. And these are modifications that don't necessarily succeed, and more than half have failed.
Marla Jansen says she was never told about HAMP. Her bank says they did not qualify for it, so they did a private loan modification instead. As for why her payment increased, Marla says she has repeatedly called Bank of America, but she doesn't hear back.
What is most frustrating right now is the lack of response.
When the Action News investigators contacted Bank of America, they did respond. In an email, the bank admits they made an error. A bank spokesperson says the Jansens' mortgage payment did not go up. They say the Jansens' mortgage payment is now about $1,500 a month, nearly the exact same amount the couple was paying before the loan modification. Except now, they do have a lower interest rate, and the bank forgave 3 months of past due payments.
Tonight on Action News at 11, I'll show you how the banks may be profiting off of foreclosures. Plus, a top federal investigator says the national program to save homes is failing. So we have some tough questions for the U.S. Treasury Department. That's all tonight on Action News at 11. Diana?